Gemima Dark and the Arcanatorium. By Princess Indigo. Chapter 8. Settling in. It smells, said Gemima, and pulled a disdainful face, as Ampersand opened the door. The room had in fact been vigorously cleaned, but during the dramatic demise of the previous occupant, some of the various bodily fluids emitted had regrettably seeped between the floorboards. Similarly, some of them had also splattered on the walls, landing out of reach of even the most zealous mop and bucket. Furthermore, after many hours spent festering since the original incident had occurred, the room had begun to stink to high heaven. It was not a pleasant odor. "Have a butterscotch, it will take your mind off it," said Ampersand, holding out a bag she kept in her pocket, for moments such as these. "It still smells," said Gemima, wrinkling up her nose, her mouth full of confectionery. "It has been cleaned," answered Ampersand, using the exact tone she knew the wing warden would, when she inevitably brought the matter to her attention. "It doesn't just smell. It reeks like an abattoir on a hot summer's night," continued Gemima in disgust. "There is a small odor, I admit," affirmed Ampersand reluctantly, barely able to hold down her butterscotch, "and some rather large stains on the floor," she added involuntarily. "I need another room. If I sleep here I'll be bloody barfing all night long," said Gemima, backing her powered wheelchair out of the room, because she could not bear the overpowering smell a moment longer. "Don't you read the news? The whole country is an economic disaster area and we're full. The last resident had to be persuaded to move on, just to get you this place," explained Ampersand, joining Gemima in the corridor. "What about the corpse you just put in the incinerator? Didn't she have a room?" asked Gemima insistently, as continued proximity to the all-pervasive malodor became more and more unbearable. "We still haven't found the head, so we don't know which of the 4,000 residents in the East Wing it was," replied Ampersand sheepishly. "Isn't there somewhere else I can sleep, while you fumigate this place?" asked Gemima, growing increasingly frustrated. "Oh God, even by our ridiculously low standards, it needs totally sterilizing and completely redecorating before anyone can live here," relented Ampersand and finally closed the door. "There's nothing else for it, you'll have to stay in the infirmary dorm. Just pretend you've picked up some bug and need medical attention." "I'm paraplegic, does that qualify?" retorted Gemima. "Have another butterscotch," said Ampersand awkwardly, and led the way. You have been listening to Gemima Dark and the Arcanatorium by Princess Indigo. Read by Treacle81. The theme music is Marionette by Felix Arndt. From the Free Music Archive. Oh gosh, Gemima is certainly having an eventful arrival. First a decapitated corpse and now a room that smells like an abattoir. Is it wrong I've started to get a crush on Ampersand? I feel so conflicted. She's a morally ambiguous authority figure in uniform, and that just makes me feel light-headed. I'd quite like to talk to her about the wider psychological ramifications of her role in the stationery cupboard when no one else is watching. I'm afraid I've run out of Battenberg cake today, but if you oversee the tea-making duties, I'll pop to the shops and buy some butterscotch.